everyone, it's your girl Shay here, and I'm back with another video for you guys. And this time I'm coming back with a discussion, and I don't yet know what I'm going to title this discussion yet, but I believe I'm basically going to talk about is, have anime metrics change due to the entertainment industry changing? And basically what I mean is, you know how many times people looked at the rankings of basically anime DVDs and a lot of Japanese sales, how they determined how well a show was doing was based off of how many Blu-ray or DVD sales a show pretty much had. But now in the days of streaming sites and basically like streaming, you know, metrics like Hulu, Netflix, Crunchyroll, Funimation, so on and so forth, I wonder, have these metrics now changed? Now, I know the possibility is basically yes, but I still do notice a lot of times from Anime News Network, there's these articles that come out based off of how well were the DVD Blu-ray rankings in Japan. They go basically week by week. So I wrote a few notes that I kind of thought up of that made me wonder this. Now, number one is that now streaming seems to be one of the main forms that so many people enjoy their anime. Not everybody, but a big majority of us, because of several different reasons. Number one, basically, is that it's very, very convenient. It's convenient because we all have devices that we use, whether it's a tablet, a phone, laptop, or even just a device connected to our TV that lets us be able to stream anime wherever we are, so we no longer have to think that we can only enjoy it in our own home because we only have a physical disc. Another reason why is because it gives us a lot more access to more shows, so we don't have to worry about waiting for a show to come out because it's literally at our fingertips. And also number three, it saves space. Many of us know how it felt or how it was to have stacks and stacks of DVDs in your room and trying to contemplate where they're all going to go, but now with streaming sites you actually don't have to worry about that. Now, many of you guys I know still buy anime DVDs because they just look good in a collection or a collection sense. So by no means am I talking about y'all, but that's perfectly fine. So another way that I realized that this is definitely probably changing is that DVD sales aren't as great as they were before. Now, this is definitely for the US kind of a thing. I don't know, I can't really determine how it is in Japan. I did a little bit of research and there really was no way for me to look at what DVD or Blu-ray sales were looking like for the past 10 years in Japan and see if there's been any fluctuation. But I know here in the US those DVD sales have definitely gone down, and that's mostly because it's just a day and age of everyone pretty much streaming stuff and not really buying physical copies anymore. The same goes to say about music. So movies and TV shows were not the only ones that were hit by this. And also, I wonder, does this mean that there's a potential for like more shows getting like a second season? The reason why I'm asking this question is because I remember before a lot of the time the reason why a show would get a second season was based off of how much did the community enjoy this show based off of how well it was selling. How many DVDs did it sell? I know they also did look at things like merchandise as well, but not as much. And mangas were like its whole completely separate category, but mostly they looked at DVD sales. But now in the wake of streaming, how are these tracked? And because of the fact that so many people do stream more, does that mean that there's more potential of a show getting a second season? And also, does this mean that more older shows will get second seasons that were long forgotten? A perfect example of this would be Fruits Basket. Since Fruits Basket is still streaming on Funimation and many of us have still been able to go back and watch it even though that show came out years ago, it still has life left in it, which was definitely, I feel, maybe a reason why that a studio decided to do a redo of this show. I know there's a term for it, but for some reason it's escaping my mind. So overall, I'm wondering, is the tracking system for anime changing, or has it changed? And I wonder if it's changed in Japan, because as many of us know in the States, and if you don't know, I'm telling you guys now, a lot of the times, based off of how well a show is doing in Japan, depends on whether or not it comes here. And a lot of times it goes the same way on if a show is doing well in Japan, if it continues. I know the biggest one was like Dragon Ball Z Kai. In the US, it was doing great. We loved the show. But in Japan, it didn't have as much headway, so they did end up canceling the show. So that's why it makes me wonder, has their metrics changed? And from what I've noticed, it doesn't seem like it has, because I still see the weekly reports based off of like DVD sales going on in Japan. But I did look up and see if there's actually a streaming service in Japan, and there are streaming services that do like let you watch anime in Japan. So it makes me wonder if they look at those metrics now. And it makes me wonder also, like, how do they look at those metrics? I wonder if they look at like how long the retainment period was for like a certain like city or province or state. I'm just talking in like US terms here, kind of, how long the retainment period was that someone stayed on a particular show. They look at each streaming service individually and decide what was the highest ranking anime that was searched on there or that was watched. I feel like there's just so many different questions to this, and I definitely think this has to do with just the times and technology definitely changing. And along with that, now I wonder, going back to before, is does this mean that fans now have more of a say-so in shows and more of a say-so in what shows get a second season? I know that before it seemed that fans didn't kind of had a say-so, was like basically very much in the middle, because it did depend on how well of a reception we had to our particular show, but it also definitely went based off of how well a show was selling. And a lot of times a lot of fans weren't buying the show, but they definitely enjoyed the show, so it was like a weird thing in the middle. And I think that now with streaming, it's like a weird happy medium. You know, we're paying for these streaming sites. Most of us are paying for these streaming sites basically, and so they do have the money that way, and then they also have the metrics of looking at how well of a show is doing by how well the fans are reacting to it. So these are just questions that I have, and let me know by commenting down below what your idea about this is and how you think metrics are now being tracked within the anime community, and how these companies are deciding which shows get a second season and why a show gets a second season. I feel like there's just so many different variables that are involved, and I feel like DVD sales or physical copies of sales may not be the forefront anymore like it used to be, just basically because of how times are changing. But that's my discussion video for you guys. I feel like my main idea, or how my feelings are on this, is that I feel like they're definitely looking at streaming sites. I feel like they're definitely looking at what the retainment period is. I don't know, once again, how they're tracking it, but I'm going to assume that they're doing that, because if they're not, then I'm kind of sad about that, because they need to get like hip with the times, you know, like stop looking at DVD sales so much, because not everybody's buying DVDs anymore. And I feel like there's just a lot more that, you know, can happen as far as tracking that stuff. But overall, thanks for checking out this video. Once again, let me know your thoughts by commenting down below. I have a new video out for you guys on Saturday, which will be a review on episode 11 of The Promised Neverland, so look forward to that. I can't believe that show is almost over. And like always, I will leave links down below to all my social media accounts, my Instagram, my Twitter, and my blog as well, so definitely check them out too. As you'll see, my blog has a different like URL address, so I did definitely change it, because I'm going to be posting some other content on there that may not always be anime related, so which is why I decided to change my handle on there. But yeah, check out my new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. See you guys there, and like I always say to you guys, stay positive and be nerdy. All right, you guys.